Down. Charles the Hammer. His name is Charles Martel, M-A-R-T-E-L. That's European history. So you're going to go to European history also to get your history. Because understand, when you're dealing with Moorish history, you're dealing with world history. You're not dealing with the fiction of what they call black history restricted to some slave period in North America. Black history is strictly slave history, strictly. When you're talking about civilization, you go to the Moors because those are our forefathers before enslavement. That's when we ruled. Our people will talk about kings and queens, but they'll never go to the history in the right frame of mind. They will take the black and then retroactively attach it to the civilized world. It doesn't attach. It's two different statuses. When you say black to the civilized world, they know that those are slave products. People who are the products of chattel operations. Has nothing to do with sovereignty. Has nothing to do with authority. Has nothing to do with self-rule, self-governance. It indicates a person denationalized, a person who is outside of the human family, a person who has no standing at law. A person who's not considered organic, but considered corporate, even though it lives. You understand that? So politically, when you see those terms used or written, that's what it means, not what you may assume that it means. So you must seriously understand why the issue is important, even when they list that thing on documents, including that birth certificate. Because they cannot list the person, and remember, keep this in mind too, because it's important for you to know this. There's two types of person at law. Write that down. If you forget this, you're in trouble. If you forget this, you're in trouble. Two types of person at law. When you see, read, or hear from any legal perspective or process in government or history that says person, unless it says natural person, it means corporation or artificial person. Are we clear? This is important so that you know how to deal with documentation received and given. Are we clear? Because I don't want anyone to get past this.
Can you repeat that again?
There are two types of person at law. The word person, when given to you in legal jargon, or in written form, or documentation, or in operations of government, it means automatically, in most instances, a corporation. You don't know that, not that you couldn't know it, because it's not taught to people. Because the U.S. corporation is a slave state. And they have a language to fit it. This is so that slaves don't rebel, because they don't know what's going on. No different than the average person didn't know that the birth certificate and the marriage certificates are bonds against them. You see what I'm saying to you? So just like you didn't know that, you also may not have known that the language that was given to you was designed for you to agree orally to your chattel enslavement through legal processes. Do you see what I'm saying? And when they give you documentations or present an instrument to you for you to sign and to agree, they represent it as something else when it's actually a bond for the world stock market. Do you understand? Now, if they list your baby in the corporate status, they're not violating international law, are they? Technically. So basically that creates what is known legally a straw, or a man of straw. So you write that down, man of straw. And you're going to look up this up in your law dictionary and your unabridged dictionaries and cross-reference it in other unabridged dictionaries. So you got to know how you got where you are so you know how to get out of it, or how to deal with it. All right? Are you following me? And if you don't understand, don't hesitate to say, because I want to make sure When you leave here, you have some working information, not just hearing me run my big mouth. So, do you understand that there's two types of person? What is the organic person?
The natural person.
What is the corporate person? Person. So when they say a person must, and you think it means you, then they trick you and you sign a contract, now you're bond. Now the law becomes the violation of the contract, and you thought it was the law. No, they're suing you for breach of contract.
I understood what you just said. Person means automatically corporation, unless it specifies natural person.
Yes.
I got lost dealing with Man of Straw. As far as I
Man of
understood
Straw
about
is
the
the
child.
fiction that they create to place the debt against. In other words, like what she was talking about earlier, you know, when her husband made an affidavit, and he has not yet filed it, but he made an affidavit, but they did accept the corporate state. What corporate state is that filing under? Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, what?
I have no idea. Oh, he just started to file the paperwork.
All right, well, don't file them yet. Not if it's theirs. You're going to have to make your own. We'll get back to you later and tell you some things. Not right now. But if you got that certificate from them,
Yes.
they got a bond on you. They got a bond on you. Yes, they do. So even if you did some other things, they got a bond on you. See, what you must not do, this is why, again, certain things must be taught to our people to bring them back into governmental principles so that you understand certain responsibilities from a civil matter, for certain civil matters already reside with you. But because our people have been held out of government so long, for so many generations, and then overseers were placed amongst our people to convince them that the 14th Amendment Negro stock was a reality. And that civil rights that went with it was a reality. That's fictional. That comes from the Christian Black Codes of 1724. To solidify the corporate person for the states, their agents. You ever notice that when certain agents say to you, by the power vested in me by the state of New Jersey, I pronounce you man and wife? They're state agents. But they tell the people that they were ordained by the Creator, didn't they? And that there's a separation of church and state, didn't they? But the average person, because they deal with beliefs, not facts, never even notice it, do they? They got the mentality of boys and girls. Now you see why civilized people call them boys and girls? And when they do that, then they get mad, they want to burn things, don't they? But they are boys and girls. That's why they call it minority. Most people think that minority means numbers, don't they? It means mental state. Legally, it means mental state. And so you have grown men and women transacting business in alien names and talk about their own things. See the problem? They don't even own their own offspring, who've been bonded away. So they think bondage is a chain. Bondage is that document. They're bonds. They're flesh bonds. See, so this enslavement for the colonists was bureaucratized, and they formulated corporations to deal with their stock investments. That's what the 14th Amendment person is. That's why as soon as you agree that you're Negro, Black, and colored, you come under certain codes and you don't know what's happening to you, but that's what happens to you. An ignorant person calls it prejudice. A person who knows law calls it birthright theft. Because that's what it is. And you always have the right to do what? To reclaim the honor of your mothers and your fathers. But if you don't want to honor your mothers and fathers, that's your right too, isn't it? Huh? So if you've been transacting business in alien names, and then you go vote in them names and they tear up the vote because it ain't going the way they want to, should you be upset? No. An intelligent person wouldn't. But an ignorant person would be upset because they think that that vote belongs to them, don't they? Huh? So if a dog comes around filing elephant votes, and then somebody comes along, elephants, tear up the votes because they ain't going the way they want to, and then the dog's called the elephant is prejudice. Who's out to lunch?